What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today I want to have a little bit of a different kind of video as we prepare for the Texans, and I think there's some things that are important to note. Okay, and getting right into this, we're talking about the dominance of the Texans over time. Okay, now since Andrew Luck decided, had his injuries and then retired, been a little up and down against the Texans. But when you look at the history and very recent history, you have Anthony Richardson last year, who only had 18 snaps against the Texans, but we were starting to blow them out. I believe he had two rushing touchdowns, I believe it was in that game. Yeah, he rushed in both of those touchdowns, then got the concussion, went out a little later, right? But up to that point was dominating the Texans. Again, 18 snaps, 17.7 fantasy points, if you're keeping track. So he was already starting to dominate the Texans. That's great. Need more continuation of that. Obviously, Richardson didn't play in Week 18 last year, so didn't get any more exposure to the Texans, which could work in our favor, right? We have plenty of exposure to C.J. Stroud. They don't have so much of Anthony Richardson that could play in our favor here. Also, something that could play in our favor is the fact that Jonathan Taylor had limited exposure to them last year as well. Obviously, didn't play in the first matchup in Week 2. And when you look back, again, talking about the history of this matchup, who owns the Houston Texans? Pardon the interruption. I just want to let you guys know how much I appreciate you stopping by the channel. And I also want to say that when I look at the analytics, 50% of the people that come by and watch this channel are not subscribed. So as Peyton's telling you to do here, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn those notifications on so you get notified when any videos come out. Now, if you need any further proof of why you need to subscribe, when you look at the numbers, 62.4% of the views on this channel over the last month have come from people that are not subscribed to the channel. So again, if you're one of those people, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you so much. And let's get back into the video. Everybody that's a Colts fan that's paid attention to football over time, you don't even have to be a Colts fan to know who the owner of the Houston Texans is. And my friend, it's not the McNair family. His name is Eugene T.Y. Hilton. Known and loved by all of Colts Nation. Absolutely torched the Texans in NRG State. And that's the thing. It wasn't all the time, but in Houston, it was all the time, right? Some of his biggest games, right? You look at the first game he played in Houston. He had 3 catches, 78, and a touchdown. Presumably that's 2012, so that's a year that him and Andrew Luck both came into the league. He was only a rookie, and in his first game against the Texans, gets a touchdown. Then in his second game against the Texans, rookie year still, ends up with a touchdown, 4 for 111 and a touchdown. So early and often, right? Then the very next game, his third game against the Texans, which was in November of 2013, goes for 7 catches, 121, and 3 touchdowns in Houston. Okay, the next time he's in Houston, this is ridiculous. Next time they were in Houston, which was October 9th, 2014, he got 9 targets. He caught 9 passes, had 223 yards and a touchdown. That's 24.8 yards per catch, okay, on 9 catches. That is absolutely ridiculous. T.Y. Hilton torching him. Then 5 for 9, 88 yards. That one not so spectacular. Followed by another couple that were not spectacular in 2015, 2016, which I believe was the Andrew Luck time when he was injured, right? I think I might be wrong there. Maybe just a couple of down games. But then he plays Houston again, 9 catches, 115 and a touchdown. Goes to Houston in 2017, 5 catches, 175 and 2 touchdowns. Then his next big game in Houston, 2018, 9 catches, 199. And then his last big game against the Texans was in 2020 when we had Phillip Rivers, goes into NRG Stadium, has 8 catches on 11 targets for 110 yards and a touchdown. You look at T.Y. Hilton's career, and again, that's a lot of in Houston. For some reason, when he went to Houston, he loved to dominate them. And the average for his career was 5.2 catches a game on 8.1 targets, 91 yards, 17.7 yards per catch, and 0.6 touchdowns. So had a really good career against the Texans. And then when you go forward in time, now we have Jonathan Taylor. And just looking at even Jonathan Taylor's rookie year, where it was a little more of a committee backfield. He wasn't completely the guy, right? I know at the end of the year, he had started to take on more of a role, but still wasn't the only guy we were relying on, right, when he was a rookie. But even still, when you look at his two performances against the Texans as a rookie, he had 13 carries for 91 yards in his first game. That's 7 yards per carry. Then he has 16 carries for 83 yards, which is 5.2 yards per carry, plus a touchdown. And in both those games, he had catches, right? The first game, 3 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. In the second game, he had 4 catches for only 12 yards. But even still, again, a big part of the offense. And again, 7 yards per carry, 5.2 yards per carry. And then as you go forward, his next game in 2021, when JT went off all season long, 1,800 total yards for JT in 2021. He had 14 carries for 145 yards in the first matchup, which is 10.4 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. And in that game, he only ends up with 1 catch for 13 yards. The next game, he doesn't get any catches in this game, but he does have 32 carries for 143 yards, which comes out to 4.5 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. So continuing to dominate. That's 145, 143. Then in 2022, the one game that he played against the Texans, 31 carries, 161 yards, which is 5.2 yards per carry with a touchdown. Also had 4 catches, 14 yards. We were terrible in 2022. Jonathan Taylor didn't play a lot of the season, but the game that he did play against them early on in the season, looks like the first game, right, 9/11/2022. I think that would have been the first game of the season against the Texans, and dominated. So coming into this one, first game of the season against the Texans, like that. Hopefully we can replicate that success, right? And then you look at the last game he played against the Texans, which was, of course, Week 18 last year. And he had 30 carries for 188 yards, 6.3 yards per carry, and 1 rushing touchdown, 2 catches for 8 yards. But that's really what we're looking at. You look at the last 3 games Jonathan Taylor has played against the Texans, 32 carries, 31 carries, 30 carries. So going down by 1 each time, which is weird. But the yardage is going up, 143, 161, 188. Yards per carry is going up. He's scoring touchdowns every game. Jonathan Taylor is destroying the Texans in his career. When you look at total stats in 6 games against the Texans, that is 811 yards, or an average of 135 yards, average of 22 attempts a game, and his yards per carry is 6 yards against the Texans for his entire career. That is absolutely ridiculous. He also averages 1.2 touchdowns, more than 1 touchdown a game against the Texans. So really good what he's been able to do against the Texans in his career. Now, obviously, with DeMeco Ryans and this new coaching staff, this is a different Texans team, but he replicated this. By the time the Texans were the Texans at the end of the season, Jonathan Taylor went in there and had 30 carries, 188, and a touchdown in Indianapolis. They're in Indianapolis again. Anthony Richardson's going to be back this time. So Jonathan Taylor carrying the torch that T.Y. Hilton left behind to be the Texan killer. We need that to happen this week. We need to get to a 1-0 start. It's not just about breaking the curse, and that's definitely a part of it. Getting rid of the Week 1 curse would be great. We need to get a jump in the division, and doing that would be like beating the Texans is major. If we can beat the Texans twice this year, that's going to be incredible toward what we're going to be able to do getting towards the playoffs. So that's what we're really looking for, is Jonathan Taylor to keep being Jonathan Taylor. We expect him to have a huge year, and with Anthony Richardson back there, I expect us to be very competitive. Will we make some mistakes? That might be the death of us, right? Is the fact that CJ played his entire rookie season and Anthony didn't. And Anthony's going to make some of those rookie mistakes, right? CJ Stroud made some rookie mistakes early on in the first half, or the first quarter of last season, really, before they really got rolling. So there's going to be some bounce back, but I have faith that the team around them is good enough to get the job done. So I'm excited about what's going to happen. I'm excited about Jonathan Taylor carrying that torch for Mr. T.Y. Hilton. You let me know your thoughts on this subject down in the comments section. How you feeling about our chances this Sunday? How you think JT's going to do this Sunday against the Texans? Let me know your predictions of that stuff down in the comment section. And of course, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you get notified of any more content we have on this channel. As always, I appreciate you stopping by for another video, and take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.